college. I wrote them out for you. So if there's any comments or questions on what I've given you, there's one in particular that I'd like to discuss. Does anyone get a chance to look at those? Or there's one about the ACC-JC, there's some about accreditation, there's three about accreditation, one specifically about the ACC-JC.
What document is that?
I'm sorry, it's a white one. I know there's a lot of documents today. This is a white one. Yeah. It says, yeah, it starts with accreditation. There's no title on it. I apologize for that. I could have put a title on there, but that's just the category under which those resolutions fell. Accreditation, consultation with the Chancellor's Office, curriculum, technology, faculty development, general concerns, and local senates, as well as matriculation. So, number 204 I would like to mention was referred to exec committee. That was not passed. And the reason that it was not passed was because the ACC-JC is currently the only accreditor recognized by the DOE for California. So in order to have other creditors come in, as the Board of Governors has suggested, that would require a DOE approval. So the resolution number 2.04 was to invite two other accrediting agencies to participate in California. You can see what I apologize, what states they already cover. North Central Association of Colleges and University already does over 1,000 schools, so adding 112 more is not that much more to their workload. But it was referred to exec committee because at that time the Board of Governors had not met. So that was that one. Is there any other comments on any other ones? Yes?
I'm curious about the restructuring bond 701.
Yes.
How does that not impact us by removing additional hiring opportunities?
Well, because they're asking for a restructure of the calculation of fund to account for current fund numbers in addition to the non-credit fund.
So the calculation itself would change, not just we're adding these people to our current fund.
That's correct. They're asking for a recalculation, yes. Or a restructure of the calculation, yes. All right, the one I would like to talk about, if no one else has anything else, is the last one. 1801, there have been multiple emails going around since last Monday about this one, just on campus. So it's defining the writing assessment practices of California community colleges. I'm not sure if you're familiar, but there is a common assessment initiative underway to make sure that all colleges are using the same assessment. Some of that allows for movement of the assessment between colleges. This particular resolution refers specifically to specifically to the writing component of the common assessment. And what this asked for is human readers as opposed to a machine reader. We already apparently, and Linda, please chime in at any time. We already have AccuPlacer, which has the capability, we don't do this, right? But it has the capability of machine reading an essay. The Senate, State Senate is against that. They want human readers, and there was an amendment to have at least 2 human readers. That was not passed, so it was just left at human readers. There was some concern, the emails that have been going around are some concerns about the length of time it will take to get those assessed, it will delay assessment scores for students, as well as the amount of manpower it's going to take to make sure that these are done. So I have Linda, as chair of English, has been CC'd on all these emails. She's well aware. So I don't know if you want to say anything about that. English is in favor of this.
Well, first of all, this is only resolution. So it's a recommendation to the committee that is creating the statewide assessment test. Individual colleges would be able to opt out and have an alternative, but the state would only pay for colleges to use whatever test the state approves of. And at the English department meeting last week, there were some cheers about the resolution, but I don't think people are very optimistic that this is actually going to make it through because of logistics issues. We did have a holistic scoring years ago at Cerritos College. We developed it here. We were commended by the state. It helped accommodate diversity in the following way. Some student groups are very practiced at taking tests, and they tended to score based on, you know, their later grades artificially high. Others are used to high schools where they're mostly writing essays, not taking reading and grammar tests, and they sometimes tended to score artificially low. So the writing sample, we felt, did lead to better placement. Essays were read blind, and any disparity went to a third reader who also read blind. So it was a good system. The problem got bogged down, though, in the turnaround time. At first, we had very good participation, full-time, plus adjuncts, with a turnaround time. By the end of the day, students who came to orientation and took the assessment could get their results. However, after a few years, participation declined and the turnaround time got more lengthy. So now the current active placer test is not cheap. It used to cost, I'm not sure what it costs now, about $9 a test. The active placer test that includes the writing sample is more expensive. Last time I checked, it was either $11 or $12 a test. We could do a lot. We could really pay readers well for that kind of money, but the turnaround time and the logistics of getting faculty together to do the reading would be a challenge. But we would be on the same, you know, page with all the other community colleges, and we have plenty of models from universities about how to have these large-scale, people go on one room with big piles of donuts and read, you know.
Okay. Questions or comments about that?
I have a question about how it was done previously with the English department. Was there incentive to be part of it, or was it just kind of volunteer?
People were paid,
Okay.
but not adequately. That's why participation fell off. If people had been paid their hourly rate, then we would have had full participation.
Okay, so again, as Linda said, this is a resolution only. There will be a task force. This is probably going to take 2 or 3 years before it's implemented. So we have plenty of time to weigh in on that as a local senate. In addition to the plenary, we also, there were 3 of us that went, Scott, myself, and Rich. We all went to workshops. The agenda is full. I'd like to postpone those discussions because Rich and Scott could not be here today about the workshops and the things that we've learned until next week. The second announcement I have, which is not on here, but because it kind of just happened like last Thursday afternoon and went on all day Friday, but I would like to make an announcement that I think everyone got the email from Christy Blackburn that there is a delay in the evaluations coming out. She has been keeping Solomon and I informed every night since Thursday, letting us know how those are going. She is about 40% done already and hopes to have the rest of them done by tomorrow. So I think the biggest issue for faculty is just making sure that you're planning accordingly for the remaining sessions you have left to be able to give these evaluations. So she assures us that all of them will be in the mailbox by Monday. Okay?
Does she know what time Monday by any chance? Just for people with Monday only classes.
She has not.
Okay.
She has not said. I can ask her though and get back to you.
Oh,
I have another request, if this is okay with the Senate, on the discussion item number E. Did you say number E, letter E? Student Success Coordinator. This is actually labeled wrong, so I would like to pull it from discussion and move it to information and give you some information on what that's about and bring that back to Senate at a later time. Are there any objections? Yeah, okay. So, briefly, for those of you that weren't in the Senate, for those of you that were, I hope you remember this. The former Dean of Academic Success and Institutional Effectiveness started moving forward with hiring full-time faculty for the Success Center without getting buy-in from constituencies. He was then asked to come to Senate. We requested that a job description be completed and brought back to Senate for review and recommendations. That has just recently been done, and I have spent several months trying to track that down, find out where it's at, and when it is going to come to Senate. I have been talking with Mary Ann. It just got to Human Resources. She is reviewing it for legal language to make sure that it is appropriate, and she's keeping me informed of where they're at with that, and that will come back to Senate the job description as well as any other questions or recommendations we have for that position, because it is a brand new position. In addition to that, it also needs to be negotiated with the CCFF, which has not happened yet. So that position is not moving forward. Again, I've been in discussions with Mary Ann for the last couple of weeks to make sure that this is going to come to Senate, since we're the ones that requested it. Yeah.
So is this really the instructional specialist?
Yeah, I apologize, that's why it
That's
is
what it's
labeled
called.
wrong.
Okay,
Yes,
so
it
it's
is
not
called the
student
instructional
success coordinator,
specialist.
right,
It
okay.
is not called the student success coordinator, and I am not in the student success center, so I didn't realize there was a difference.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why I pulled the item, because it's labeled incorrectly. Yes.
I know that position has appeared on the rankings
That's correct.
for hiring in planning and budget. Are we recommending planning and budget that we pull that position? Does planning and budget know this yet? It didn't come up at our last meeting.
They are aware of that. I am not sure if that is going to be pulled exactly. I would expect that to be pulled after meeting with Mary Ann. There are 100 questions to answer about that job. The number one being it has to be negotiated by CCFF before it can even become an official position. So I would expect that EC would pull that, but certainly I'll bring that back next week. If it isn't pulled, then we can make that recommendation. And they did come in very low. I think it came in around 11,
10,
right?
yeah,
10,
as I recall.
yeah, so, yeah, solid.
Yeah, okay, maybe my memory of the planning and budget meeting was different. I thought that at planning and budget, they announced that the position would be filled and that therefore it didn't have to participate in the ranking.
They did say it would be filled at the time, this was last Thursday, but that it was categorical. So it sounded like it was moving forward as a categorical position, which still would affect our phone numbers.
Right, and
But there's no
right, it
question
would
about
still
it.
affect our fund, it's still a tenure track position. And if the categorical funds were lost, then the district would pick up the salary for that position. Have we seen a job description?
We have not seen a job description. That's what I'm working with Mary Ann.
Okay.
She's trying to work out the legal language of the job description so that Senate is actually going to make recommendations on what is an appropriate, or what HR believes is an appropriate job description. Right now, she does not feel it's appropriate.
Okay.
So that will, the job description should come back to Senate. I have requested that.
Eventually, I think this instructional specialist, because it is a new job, it's not a regular faculty job, it has to be negotiated by the union. But apart from that, I would request the Senate to, because this is going to affect the fund, whether it comes from categorical or no matter the source, it affects the fund. I would suggest that we request the executive committee to remove this from fund calculations for us. If the institution wants to make a commitment to Success Center, so be it, then make that commitment. But it should not come out of classroom faculty. That ranking that should be removed, and it cannot be part of our, if they say they're going to hire 10 faculty members for, let's say, for this year, that position should not be in that TED. That's a commitment that the institution should make on its own, and it shouldn't affect our positions. I hope we can make a recommendation to the Executive Council.
We certainly can. We cannot do that today. It was not an agendized item, but we can bring this back next week if the Senate would like this brought back next week.
I was just curious for those of you who went to planning budget, did they say, if it's categorical, did they say what funds are going to pay for it?
Student equity.
Equity.
Yes.
So are there any objections to bringing this back next week? We will not have the job description next week, but we can certainly make recommendations about the faculty rankings. Any objections? Okay.
When we talk about student equity, though, just to kind of clarify, the student equity plan was done through Stephen Johnson. So I'm not clear on this, so it's a question. Is that overseen through student services? Or my understanding is that this position is not a student service. So I guess it's just not normal. Again, when we say student equity fund, so it's categorical. Who's overseeing the position?
Okay. I don't have answers to those questions. I'll find out.
Is it instructional by nature?